Hello, movie lovers. Welcome to Does It Hold Up? I'm Adam, and this is the box office news. I know normally we also do some actual news stuff from the world of film and television at the end of the box office show, but that's not going to happen anymore. We're actually just going to be doing a box office every Tuesday, catching up on what happened over the weekend in the theatrical market, and then on Thursdays is where you're going to get the news programs. I can't guarantee there's going to be a news program every single week. It depends on if there's actual stories to talk about. But if you liked that news section of what I used to do, make sure you check in on Thursdays because that's where you're going to be able to see it. So, let's get to that box office. This weekend, we didn't see that great of numbers, but there were some big changes. In first place, we have The Exorcist Believer, new to the chart, with $26.5 million. In second place, Paw Patrol, the Mighty Movie, in its second week, taking in another $11.3 million, which is a 50% drop, but that's not that bad for a kids movie. You know, a lot of them rushed out to see it that opening weekend, so that's a pretty strong hold. So far, it's made $38.5 million. Saw X in its second week made $7.8 million. Pretty decent drop here with a 57%, but that's about average for a horror movie any time of the year. It's taken in $32.2 million so far. In fourth place is The Creator in its second week as well, with a 56% drop, and it's only brought in $25 million so far. So I'm pretty sure the movie not opening as high as they would have liked, they probably wished it would have held a little better. 56% is much too high for a movie of that magnitude, especially when they had a budget of about $80 million. And now they've only taken in 25 at the domestic box office. The movie's not doing that well worldwide either. It's going to be tough for this movie to be profitable, which is going to scare studios away from making original IP again. And the problem isn't original IP, the problem was the movie. It just wasn't that good. In fifth place is The Blind, holding pretty strong, staying in fifth place. In its second week, with only a 27% drop, it brought in $3.2 million. It's made $10.5 million so far against a $10 million budget. If it can continue the way it's going, it's going to make a little tiny profit on this movie. In sixth place is A Haunting in Venice in its fourth week. $2.6 million, 26% drop. Very disappointing, low box office total so far of only $35.6 million against a $60 million budget. This is budgeted lower than both Death on the Nile and Murder on the Orient Express, but $60 million is still nothing to scoff at. And it only bringing in 35.6 so far, gonna be a disappointment. In fact, every movie on this list right now, they don't look like they're gonna be box office successes. Almost every single one looks like they're probably gonna lose money in the theatrical market. In seventh place is The Nun 2 in its fifth week with another $2.6 million, a 46% drop, but it has made $81 million so far. In eighth place is Dumb Money in its fourth week, $2.1 million, 36% drop, $10.6 million. Let's just take a second to talk about Dumb Money. This is a movie that I feel like had a lot of hype when it was coming out. People were interested because they had just lived through the story and they kind of wanted to know more about it. But after 4 weeks, you're still only mustering up $10.6 million with the all-star cast that you have and the amount of marketing that you did. I don't know, man. I didn't enjoy Dumb Money that much. I know a couple other people who did not enjoy it, but I do know some who really liked it. I just don't think it's going to get anywhere close to the $30 million budget that it reportedly had. In ninth place is The Equalizer 3 in its sixth week with another $1.8 million, a 33% drop, but no worries, it's already made just under $90 million. It's doing just fine for itself. And in 10th place, new to the list, is the Hocus Pocus 30th anniversary re-release, taking in $1.6 million. Amazingly, this movie, in its entire run since it came out, way back in the early 90s, it has only made $45.7 million. For as big of a cult classic as this movie is, you would expect that number to be a lot higher, but unfortunately, it was a big box office disappointment when it first came out. It only gained that following since, being played on the Disney Channel every Halloween, or people just finding it along the way. Pretty good, $1.6 million for a one weekend, 30 years after the movie came out. I think most movies would like that. Only 2 movies dropped out of the top 10 this week. First is Barbie. After 11 weeks in the top 10, it finally drops out, but again, with a $600 and nearly $40 million haul, they're not complaining. And Expendables, or Expendables, is out after just 2 weeks. Huge disappointment for that movie. Please, please let that series end. There was no need for a fourth one, and there's absolutely no want for a fifth one. All right, that was a look at the top 10 movies, and I wanted to go a little bit farther. So the summer box office ended just a few weeks ago, and that's where a lot of money gets made. We saw some really big titles come out. We saw some disappointing titles as well. But right now, it's usually a little bit of a lull because Halloween season, going into colder weather, and there's not really that many movies coming out. So I wanted to take a look at this weekend compared to this same weekend in past years to see how well we're stacking up. So this is the 41st weekend of 2023. So I took a look at 2022. Are we doing better than last year? And the answer is yes. So last year on the 41st weekend, Smile was the number one movie in its second week with $18.5 million, and the combined movies at the box office that weekend made $59.5 million. Not bad, not great. This year, The Exorcist Believer took first place with that $26.5 million. The combined total for this entire weekend was actually $73.3 million, so we got to see a nice little 23.1% increase over the same weekend last year. But last year, we were still recovering from the shutdowns, from everything that was happening. Theaters were open, but some people still weren't comfortable going back, and that could be why we saw an increase. So I also wanted to take a look at the last 41st weekend before the world fell apart. So that would have been 2019. So let's take a look at that. The 41st weekend in 2019 saw Joker lead the way in its second week with $55.8 million, and a combined total of all the movies out that weekend of $140.4 million, which, as you can see, is a 47.8% decrease for this year. That's not great. Clearly shows that we still have a lot of work to do to get the theatrical box office back to where it was pre-pandemic, pre-everything closing down and the world basically falling apart for a little while. But we have hope. If we've increased 23% since last year, that shows that we're moving in the right direction. Either movies have gotten better, people are more interested in going back to the box office, or who knows? It could be 100 different things on why we saw an increase. But as long as we see increases year on year, that's what we want to see. The 47.8% since 2019, that's a huge drop though. I don't know if we're ever going to get back to those type of numbers again unless we see something like Joker, which was not supposed to be a huge hit and somehow still made $1 billion worldwide. So unless we get something like that coming out in October again, I don't know if we'll ever reach those numbers, but it's something interesting to follow along with. What's also going to be interesting to follow along with is what many people are predicting to clearly be the number one movie of this coming weekend, which is Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour, the movie. I know I tried to get tickets. I went to my local theater here and was trying to find out if I could get any seats. I want to check it out. I'm a Taylor Swift fan, and this hype is just massive. I want to see what this tour is all about that people are paying thousands of dollars to go to. They're all sold out. I waited way too long to get tickets. They're all sold out. They just announced that they're actually going to be putting new showtimes at the theaters around me. Checked those ones out. There's one or two that isn't completely full yet, but other than that, all the new ones are sold out too. This movie is going to be massive over this weekend. I'm guessing it's going to open up to about $110 million in its opening weekend, which is immediately going to put it up very high on the 2023 list. But it also got me thinking, has Taylor Swift single-handedly changed the North American box office? So she's just a singer and a performer. And I say the word just because she's not a great actress. She's not known for many other things. It's for her music. She's putting this out so people can check out her tour. Beyonce just announced last week that she's also putting out a movie about her most recent tour, the Renaissance Tour. It's getting a theatrical release December 1st of this year. That's two major artists. Are there going to be more major artists that see this and go, if I put out a movie and people check it out that first weekend, I can make a pretty penny pretty quickly. If Taylor Swift and Beyonce are both successes with this idea, I imagine a lot of other ones are going to follow suit as well. I just don't know if it's something viable long term. But what I would be interested in finding out, is it going to force Hollywood to make better movies if artists are going to be releasing tours that are selling out every single showing? You're going to need something to compete against that. So this might actually be a good thing for both the theatrical market, which always sees a downturn around this time of year, and studios having to make better product to get people back into the theater. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what artists you want to see make a movie, which ones you go to the theater and actually check out. Are you going to go see Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour, the movie? I'm trying. I still keep looking for tickets. Do you think it's going to have a massive effect on the actual box office? Are studios going to have to improve? These are all things I want to know, so let me know in the comments below. And that's it for the box office this week. Check back in next Tuesday when we cover the box office for this upcoming weekend. Don't forget to like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe to the channel for more great content. And until next time, remember to be good to yourself, kind to others, and keep watching movies.